Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm Max.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're starting a series called Getting into Private Rentals. I think private rentals is really gatekept. Like, people that figure it out don't like to share. They don't like to give the information. I get it. Like, there's a lot more revenue to be generated. There's a lot more potential. And I'm open to it because I like to share information. I like to help people, but I can completely understand why people wouldn't want to. They wouldn't want to saturate the private market any more than it already is, and they'd want to keep the secrets to themselves so they can continue building what they have. And maybe there's not a necessity for them, but we want to break that wide open. So we're going to create a series of videos talking about all the different pieces to it. And today we're going to be getting started with getting started, what you need to actually start the process, and what's the first thing that they need.
To get everything rolling, you want to start by getting a website. Super simple. It doesn't have to be anything complex. Just something that a customer is able to look at. Looks very professional, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I think websites can be pretty simple. I mean, you want to have contact information on there as much as possible, like some sort of phone number. I mean, on our first page, I think we have like 4 or 5 points of contact for our phone number that people can like call us, like in the top right, on the second section, on like the fourth section, like all over on the footer. The phone number is all over the place, and so is our email. I mean, point being is sometimes you'll go to a car rental website, I mean, people that are trying to get into it, and there's no contact anywhere. Like, you can't even reach them. You can fill out a form, but then when the hell are they going to get back to me? So I'm sure people don't even fill out the forms. I honestly probably wouldn't. So I think with website, there's a lot of things that you should be looking out for, which that being one of them. I think simplicity, like not putting too much information. Information is good as long as it pertains to the car rentals and the business. And that obviously keywords and words on the website help with SEO. But if you go too overboard and try to make it this huge website, super complicated, you don't want people to get confused in the process of trying to book the car. Because at the end of the day, that's all they're there to do. They don't want to find out about anything else. So if you can make the process as easy as possible for them to get onto your website and book the car, that's key.
Yeah, I think an easy way to figure out a good template for that is just look at like Enterprise and all these bigger companies and see how they set it up. That's how we started. We just took a look at how Enterprise had their setup. The first thing you see is book now, and you have all the information. You set up the dates, set up the type of vehicle you want. It makes it super easy for the customer so they can see it right all in front of them. But you also got to understand that this is not, setting up your website, it's not going to be perfect right when you set it up. You're constantly going to be evolving it, adding new things, tweaking it to make it fit exactly what you need.
Yeah, I mean, we tweak our website, or at least I tweak our website probably every week or two. I mean, it's not major things, it's smaller things, maybe adding additional sections or maybe adding a photo, or I mean, whatever that may look like. I think it's always important to do that. But when you look at Enterprise and Hertz and stuff, you can look at them and get some ideas, but their pages are really built out. Like, they have hundreds of different pages that you can click around to. Not that it's confusing, they make it really easy to navigate, but I think they have it built out so much for the organic SEO and just information in general. I'm sure that they just want to answer all the questions that people have. And it's something that we have on our website, which is nice to have. It's not a necessity. 2 things. One is FAQ. A lot of people have the same exact questions. It's do you have unlimited miles? What kind of car payment do you have? Can we have an out-of-state license? Like, there's probably 5 or 10 questions that are asked every single time, no matter who's renting the car. And then the second thing is we have a privacy policy on ours, which just states, like, these are the rules essentially, like no out of country, no one ways, limited miles on all the cars. I mean, we have probably 10 things in there. And I think that's important. That's in the contract as well, but it gives them an idea before they're getting into it. Because all this is to eliminate, kind of vet people. Like, if people are looking for one-ways, I mean, we don't even want the call because we don't do one-ways. So if we can vet them before they call, that's ideal.
Yep.
Next thing is, once you have your website built, there's kind of 2 pieces, but the next one is probably the software, which is HQ Rentals and FleetWire. There's a couple other small ones. Those are the 2 main ones. But what do you think are the benefits to having rental software?
Oh my God, it's night and day. There's so much information that is in these softwares that allow you to just level up your game entirely. Like, we went for I don't know how long without it, and it was a nightmare. We had paper contracts, so customers would call us. They'd come in, we'd give them all the information, and then we'd have to go through, sign all the contracts, but we'd have to manually put in all this information,
We have a stack. Hold on, I'm actually gonna get the stack. I gotta show this. So this is what happens when you don't have a system. This may not look like a lot, but these are only like a page or two, and there's like hundreds of pages. So we probably have 50 to 100 rental contracts right here. And like, first off, there's no photos attached to these. Like, we have to take the photos on our phone. There's no way, if somebody wanted to extend, like, we have to handwrite it. We can't like charge their card. The processing's different than in the system. So when you don't have a rental system, it's very hard because you have a lot of pieces that you have to pull together to create something. But when you have something like this, where you have all those together, it makes it very easy. And I remember when we made the switch, like, do we want to pay an extra $150 a month? Like, do we want that expense? And we kind of decided, okay, we're going to do it. And then worst case, we can go back. And the day we did it, we're like, oh my gosh, we're never going to go back. We can't believe we went this long without getting it. So if you're serious about getting into private rentals, like 100%. I mean, this has been the biggest lifesaver for us is having a system, because you can only take so much on. But by having a rental software, it eliminates so much of your time.
It does, and it's not a requirement. If you're just getting started, you don't need this. But getting into it, if you really want to grow, this is huge. It's going to make your life so much easier, as well as like because you can set up a bunch of information inside of, like, for HQ rentals, you can have your processing through it. So you can send out customers, you send out the deposit, you send out the payment for the rental. You can also have it set up where you send out the contract. So they DocuSign everything. They can fill out all the information by themselves online. And so all they have to do when they get here is just show us their ID, and we verify that, and then they're ready to go.
Yeah, and a part of that is, so HQ Rentals, and I'm sure FleetWire you can connect a processor to it. So you can either go with Stripe, which is typically the standard one, or you can put one of your own, attach it to it. And my suggestion for that is I would look at how much all the companies charge, because even if you're off by like a percentage or two, I mean, if we're going to probably do $100,000 just in private rentals sales this year, and probably 2 to 3x that next year. I mean, just that percentage may sound like a small amount, but I think even 1 or 2% makes a big, big difference.
It really does.
Yeah. So I would really look into that. I wouldn't just pick whatever's there. I'd try to do some research on it. I think the next thing is Google My Business.
Yeah, I think Google My Business is super important and super easy to set up. It takes 5-10 minutes. It's a really easy way to get natural leads and natural SEO to really start building this brand, which is going to allow you to really create something awesome.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that set them up wrong. Like, they won't put the website there, or they won't put the phone number, or they won't put the times that they're open. So and it's not that hard. Like, it's all right there. It's honestly like one sheet, and you just fill out the information. So when you're setting up a Google My Business profile, just do everything. Fill out all the information, even if you feel like it's not a necessity, because you don't want to be one of those people that you're like, why am I not getting any calls? Where are these calls? And you didn't even set up your phone number or your website on this Google My Business profile. Like, that's such a waste. But for when you do set it up, it's really cool because you can build organic growth there's a lot of things. We add photos. I add photos every single week to our Google Business profile. Look at all the reservations we've done in the past week or two, and I'll upload all the photos. So we have like 400 or 500 photos on our page. Wow. Which is a lot more than most people, and all that does is increase traffic organically. And so, I mean, that's a huge benefit. And then, of course, just being able to market that. And that's going to be a different section, is getting into marketing. But, I mean, Google My Business is a huge, huge tool, especially with like reviews and stuff.
Yeah, and I think even if you're doing Turo, you should set this up. I know a couple guys that do that already, and it's just an easy way to, and you can, even if you're on Turo, you can convert leads to Turo. You send them your profile, and we still do this to this day. If they don't meet all of our requirements, we'll send them over to Turo, and we'll get reservations once or twice a week just off of our Google My page.
Yeah, it's true. It's true for any Turo or private. Like, you can do that either way. The next one's contracts. This one is so important, and I don't know how people aren't like doing this, but I've talked to a lot of people about private, and a handful of them do it, and a select amount don't have contracts. And for those of you who don't do contracts and are watching this video, you better go find one right now. Because, like,
Seriously.
I mean, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. One thing happens. I mean, I'll give you an example. We had a couple accidents with private rentals, and I mean, we haven't had any problems. I mean, insurance is paid out. But the first thing the insurance companies ask for is the contract.
Yep.
And if you don't have a contract, you're not getting paid. I promise you that. I guarantee. And the people that are willing to take the risk on that, I don't know if they're lazy or if they just don't understand, but it's really not that hard. Insurance companies provide contracts, as in like the person that you have insurance through. And then also the software systems like HQ Rentals and FleetWire, they provide standard contracts that they have. So just do it. You have to have, like, if you are not going to do contracts, don't get into private rentals. It's not, I would say it's not even worth it. But with contracts, what do you think is important to have on there?
Oh, there's so much information. It's really setting up your boundaries. So what exactly you're not going to allow, like overage of miles, what the customer is going to get charged if they do go over on miles, who's responsible for damage and what that entails. So like, for example, for us, we have, when a customer crashes our car, they're not just responsible for the damages to the car, they're responsible for the depreciation amount. They're also responsible for the loss of revenue during that time where the car is being fixed. And so a lot of times the insurance has to pay it and they'll fight it. But if you have it in the contract, that's going to keep you safe.
Yeah, and you need to have everything stayed in the contract. Like if you have any additional, kind of like you said, like additional miles, well, how much per mile? We charge 62.5%. We have 150 miles a day. We charge $250 for a smoking fee. We charge $150 for a cleaning fee. We charge, we'll keep your deposit if you go out of the country, and then we'll charge an extra $100 a day if you're out of the country. So I think the idea behind it is you'll learn as you go, like things are going to happen and you're going to run into situations, but you have to add the expectations in the contract. So all of the bad things that have happened to us, we've added in the contract. Now we have a very strong set of expectations. So if anything happens, we're covered for it. We have it stated in the contract.
Yeah, the only difficult part about the contracts is the information regarding theft. Because each state, because it's technically under a contract, so it's not a theft. So even if someone does steal the vehicle, stops responding, takes off to whoever knows where, you have to have somewhere in your contract. For example, in Arizona, there's 2 statutes that you have to put in there that state if the vehicle is not returned in this amount of days after the reservation and there's no communication, it's considered a theft. And if you add that in, the cops are able to treat it just like it's a regular stolen car. But without that, we had an issue with that where we had a car that was stolen, lady stopped responding, and it took us about a month to recover the car. But the whole time the cops couldn't do anything because in the contract we didn't have those 2 sections, which in Arizona are super specific, but you have to look at each state that you're in is going to have different laws regarding rental contracts and thefts. So just look that up, maybe talk to a lawyer, or you probably could find that online. But that's super important.
Yeah, you just look up stolen vehicle conversion notice code or something. I'm sure you could look it up. But so some of you may be thinking, well, I could just go to my insurance company and they'll pay me out. Wrong. They'll only pay you out for a stolen vehicle, and the only way to convert it from a civil case, because it's a civil matter with a contract, if you don't have that code, again, you can't transfer it to you can't, what's the word called?
Convert it?
Yeah, you can't convert it to a stolen car. Because the police have to write a report like stolen vehicle, and then you give that to your insurance. It's a stolen vehicle. Now they'll pay you out.
Yep.
So like if you don't have that code in there, and your car gets stolen, like you just lost a car. There's nothing, unless you find that. There's nothing you can do. No one's gonna pay you out for that.
Yeah.
I mean, your insurance, like no, you're kind of on your own for that. So absolutely have that.
I think that's a really big lesson. We learned that the hard way, and we hope you guys don't have to go through that.
Yeah, but we solved it. We ended up finding the car.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny story. That's for another time. But I'm glad we're able to find it. Last one is, and we'll just briefly touch on it, is insurance. We're gonna do a whole nother section about this. But what do people need for insurance?
There's a couple things. You need to have, I think a big one is having an umbrella policy. Again, this is not a necessity, but it's going to keep you covered in case anything happens. You know, you always want to be prepared for the unexpected, and that's going to just keep you in a good place just in case anything does. And then another thing is also being able to sell insurance. You know, we can go in deep into the depth about this, but having that option to sell, like for example, we have customers that come to us all the time that just have liability insurance. We do not let our customers leave the lot or our cars unless they're fully covered, just because, you know, that's going to turn into a nightmare if anything happens. So we're now able to sell insurance to the customers for an additional, it's $25 a day. You know, we don't make much money. I think we make $1 something on it.
No, we make like $7. We get charged $18 for it.
Okay, so we make $7 a day on that, but it's not really about the margin on that. It's really just having these vehicles covered in case anything does happen.
But the margin is nice. I mean,
Yeah,
$7 a day. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. We have a guy or individual who's been renting one of our cars for 2 months straight. And quick thought on that is when you have cars go over 30 days, you have to renew the contract. You can't have the same contract. I'll tell you what's going to happen. Car gets in an accident on day 45 of the same contract. Legally, if it's over 30 days, it has to be a lease. It can't be a rental car. It has to be a lease. So if that happens, you're going to give the contract to the insurance company. They're going to say, well, it's not a lease, so we can't pay you out. This is a rental car, and it's over 30 days. So, you know, there's nothing we can do for you. So by renewing it, you know, you can continually go on. But so this individual is on day 60 something, 65 maybe, of $25 a day for insurance. But I think like 40% of the people that buy insurance, or 40% of our renters buy insurance. So, I mean, it is a way to generate more money. We've generated, I mean, thousands. I mean, based on, or from the 80,000 that we've made, I mean, probably thousands of dollars in insurance.
Yeah, and this is one of the best parts about private. You can set, if you really want to make money, you could charge double for insurance. You can charge whatever you want for this, and that's the best part, is you are in control of your business.
Yeah, and I think that's the bottom line for me, is like the ability to have control over the customer base, over the marketing, over pricing on every single aspect. I mean, it's a good feeling. It's a really nice feeling to have
awesome.
that. Yeah. Well, I think that's it for getting started. I think the next sections are going to be very helpful in other spaces in the private world, but I'm excited to continue on this conversation, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Love to hear them.
Yeah, absolutely. Our email's heartrentalsaz@gmail.com. A ton of people comment and say they want to reach out and they don't know how, and we guys put it in our descriptions, but that's for those of you who are looking to reach out. Feel free to reach out to any questions you guys have. I'd love to answer them.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, see you.